Roman art and cultural achievements were numerous and varied. The Romans were skilled in many different art forms, and they produced a wide range of works that continue to be admired to this day. In addition to architecture, the Romans were also known for their mosaics, frescoes, and sculptures. They were skilled at creating intricate and detailed works of art, and many of their works have survived to the present day. Roman art was not only aesthetic, but it was also functional. The Romans were practical people, and they used art to serve a wide range of purposes, from providing religious instruction to depicting historical events. In addition to their artistic achievements, the Romans were also known for their cultural achievements. They were avid readers and writers, and they produced a wealth of literature, including works of history, philosophy, and poetry. They were also skilled musicians and were known for their love of music and dance. The Romans were also known for their innovations in engineering and technology. They were the first to use concrete as a building material, and they built impressive aqueducts to transport water from distant sources into the city. They were also skilled military strategists, and the development of advanced military tactics was a key factor in the expansion of the Roman Empire. Overall, the art and cultural achievements of ancient Rome were a testament to the skill and ingenuity of the Roman people, and they continue to be admired and studied to this day. Let's take a deeper look at the top 10 ancient Roman art and cultural achievements. Number 10. The rise of Christianity and its eventual acceptance as the state religion. The rise of Christianity and its eventual acceptance as the state religion was an important event in the history of ancient Rome. Christianity was a new and rapidly growing religion that originated in the eastern Mediterranean region in the 1st century AD. It was based on the teachings of Jesus Christ, who was crucified by the Romans in 30 AD. Despite its humble beginnings, Christianity quickly spread throughout the Roman Empire, and by the 4th century AD it had become the dominant religion in the empire. This was due in part to the efforts of Constantine the Great, who became the first Roman emperor to convert to Christianity in 312 AD. Constantine's conversion and his support for the spread of Christianity helped to legitimize the religion in the eyes of the Roman authorities, and it paved the way for its eventual acceptance as the state religion. The rise of Christianity had a profound impact on the Roman Empire. It brought a new set of beliefs and values that challenged the traditional Roman way of life, and it sparked a period of religious and cultural change that would have long-lasting effects. The acceptance of Christianity as the state religion also marked the beginning of the end of the Roman Empire, as the empire's decline and eventual collapse has been attributed in part to the destabilizing effects of the rise of a new and powerful religion. Number 9. The translation and preservation of Greek philosophical and literary works. The translating and preserving of Greek philosophical and literary works by the ancient Romans was an important cultural achievement. The Romans were great admirers of Greek culture, and they were eager to learn from the works of the great philosophers, writers, and scholars of Greece. To this end, the Romans embarked on a massive translation project, in which they translated many of the most important works of Greek literature and philosophy into Latin. This allowed the Romans to access and study the works of authors like Aristotle, Plato, and Homer, and it played a crucial role in the development of Roman culture and thought. In addition to translating Greek works, the Romans also played a key role in preserving them. Many of the original Greek texts were written on fragile materials like papyrus, which were prone to decay over time. The Romans, however, used a much more durable material called parchment, which was made from animal skin. This allowed the Romans to preserve many of the Greek texts, and it ensured that they were available to later generations of scholars and readers. The translation and preservation of Greek works by the Romans was a crucial factor in the transmission and development of Western culture. These works continue to be studied and admired to this day, and they remain an important part of our intellectual heritage. Number 8. The production of elaborate frescoes, mosaics, and other works of art. Creating outstanding works of art was a significant cultural achievement of ancient Rome. The Romans were skilled craftsmen and were able to create beautiful and intricate works of art that were used to decorate the walls and floors of their homes, temples, and public buildings. Frescoes were a popular form of art in ancient Rome, and they were created by painting onto wet plaster. This allowed the paint to be absorbed into the plaster, creating a durable and long-lasting work of art. Frescoes were often used to depict scenes from mythology, history, or daily life, and they were a common feature of Roman homes and public buildings. Mosaics were another popular form of art in ancient Rome. They were created by placing small pieces of colored stone or glass, called tesserae, onto a surface to create a picture or pattern. Mosaics were often used to decorate floors, and they were a common feature of Roman villas and public buildings. In addition to frescoes and mosaics, the Romans were also skilled sculptors and were able to create works of art in a variety of materials, including marble, bronze, and gold. The Romans were known for their realistic and lifelike sculptures, and many of their works of art have survived to the present day and continue to be admired for their beauty and craftsmanship. Number 7. The growth of trade and commerce, leading to a thriving economy. Trade and commerce were crucial factors in the success of ancient Rome. The Roman Republic was a highly expansionist power, and as it conquered new territories and came into contact with other civilizations, it began to develop a complex and sophisticated economy. The Romans were skilled traders and were able to establish a network of trade routes that stretched across the Mediterranean and beyond. They traded a wide range of goods, including luxury items like spices and silks, as well as more practical items like weapons and tools. The Romans were also skilled manufacturers, and they developed a number of industries, including mining, metalworking, and textiles. This allowed them to produce goods for both domestic consumption and for trade. The growth of trade and commerce led to the development of a thriving economy in ancient Rome. The city became a center of wealth and power, and its people enjoyed a high standard of living. The economy of ancient Rome was highly developed and was a key factor in the city's success and longevity. Number 6. The establishment of a professional army and the development of military tactics. The creation of a professional army was a key factor in the success of ancient Rome. Prior to the rise of the Roman Republic, the city-state was defended by a citizen militia that was made up of men who had been trained to fight in times of war. However, as the Republic expanded and came into conflict with other powers, it became necessary to create a professional army that could defend the empire on a permanent basis. The Roman army was made up of professional soldiers who were paid for their service and who were trained to fight according to a set of standardized tactics. These soldiers were organized into units called legions, which were led by experienced commanders. The Romans were master tacticians and were able to adapt their tactics to suit the needs of each individual battle. One of the key advantages of the Roman army was its discipline and organization. The soldiers were trained to fight as a cohesive unit, and they were able to coordinate their movements on the battlefield in a way that was unmatched by their enemies. This allowed the Romans to outmaneuver and defeat larger and more powerful armies. The establishment of a professional army was a crucial factor in the success of the Roman Republic, and it allowed the Romans to expand their empire and maintain the dominance over their enemies. The military tactics developed by the Romans continue to be studied and admired to this day. Number 5. The construction of aqueducts to supply water to cities. The construction of aqueducts was one of the most impressive feats of engineering in ancient Rome. Aqueducts were used to transport water from distant sources, such as rivers and lakes, into the city. They were essential for providing the city with fresh water for drinking, bathing, and irrigation. The Romans were master engineers and were able to build aqueducts that could transport water over long distances and across difficult terrain. They used a variety of construction techniques, including the use of arches and the creation of underground tunnels. The aqueducts were supported by massive pillars and were built to withstand the forces of nature, including earthquakes and floods. The Romans built a network of aqueducts that spanned the length and breadth of the empire. The most famous of these was the Aqua Virgo, which supplied water to the city of Rome from a source 19 miles away. The aqueducts were an engineering marvel of their time and were a testament to the ingenuity and skill of the Roman people. The construction of aqueducts had a profound impact on the development of Roman society. It allowed the city to grow and flourish, and it enabled the Romans to live healthy and productive lives. The aqueducts were a crucial part of Roman infrastructure and remain an important part of the city's history and legacy. Number 4. The creation of the Julian calendar. The Julian calendar was a calendar that was created by Julius Caesar in 46 BC. It was named after Caesar, who was the Roman general and statesman who introduced it. The Julian calendar was based on the solar year, which is the time it takes for the Earth to orbit the Sun, and it was designed to replace the old Roman calendar, which was a lunar calendar that was based on the cycles of the moon. The Julian calendar was a major improvement over the old Roman calendar because it was more accurate and more consistent. It consisted of 365 days, with an extra day added every fourth year to account for the fact that the solar year is slightly longer than 365 days. This extra day became known as a leap year, and it helped to keep the Julian calendar in line with the seasons. One of the most significant features of the Julian calendar was the adoption of January and February as the first 2 months of the year. This was a significant change from the old Roman calendar, which began with March. The Julian calendar also established a system of 12 months, each with either 30 or 31 days, and it standardized the lengths of the months so that they were more consistent from year to year. The Julian calendar was used throughout the Roman Empire and remained in use for more than 1,000 years. It was eventually replaced by the Gregorian calendar, which was introduced in 1582. Despite its long history, many of the principles and concepts of the Julian calendar are still used in modern calendar systems. Number 3. The Coliseum and other impressive architectural achievements. One of the most famous accomplishments of Roman art is their architecture. The Romans were master builders, and they were able to create impressive structures like the Coliseum, the Pantheon, and the Mausoleum of Augustus. These buildings were not only functional, but they were also highly ornate and decorated with sculptures, frescoes, and other works of art. The Coliseum, also known as the Flavian Amphitheatre, was one of the greatest architectural achievements of ancient Rome. Built during the reign of Emperor Vespasian, it was completed in 80 AD by his son Titus. The Coliseum was a massive amphitheatre built to host gladiatorial games and other public entertainment events. It was the largest amphitheatre ever built and could hold up to 50,000 spectators. The Coliseum was built using a combination of concrete and stone and featured a series of arches and vaults that supported its massive structure. Its exterior was adorned with statues and reliefs, and its interior was divided into 3 levels, with the lower level reserved for slaves and animals, the middle level for common citizens, and the upper level for the elite. In addition to the Coliseum, ancient Rome was also known for its impressive aqueducts, which were used to bring water from distant sources into the city. The aqueducts were built using arches and were supported by massive pillars, and they were an engineering marvel of their time. Other notable architectural achievements of ancient Rome include the Pantheon, the Temple of Jupiter, and the Mausoleum of Augustus. Check out our list of the top 10 architectural works of the Romans that are linked in the card for more. Number 2. The creation of concrete and its widespread use in construction. Concrete was a revolutionary building material that was developed by the ancient Romans. It was made from a mixture of water, sand, gravel, and a type of cement called pozzolana that was derived from volcanic ash. This mixture was highly durable and could be molded into a variety of shapes, making it an ideal building material for the construction of large structures like aqueducts, bridges, and buildings. The widespread use of concrete in Roman construction was made possible by the Roman Republic's expansionist policies, which led to the conquest of new territories and the acquisition of the raw materials needed to make concrete. The Romans also developed sophisticated construction techniques that allowed them to build large structures quickly and efficiently. One of the most famous examples of Roman concrete construction is the Coliseum, which was built using a combination of concrete and stone. The Romans were also known for their use of concrete in the construction of aqueducts, which were used to transport water from distant sources into the city. These aqueducts were built using arches and were supported by massive pillars, and they were an engineering marvel of their time. The use of concrete in construction continued to be important throughout the history of the Roman Empire, and it remains an important building material to this day. Number 1. The development of Roman law and the legal system. Roman law and the legal system was one of the greatest achievements of ancient Rome. The Romans were known for their highly organized and efficient system of law, which was based on a set of principles and rules that were codified into law. The Roman legal system was divided into 2 main branches, civil law and criminal law. Civil law dealt with disputes between individuals or organizations, while criminal law dealt with offenses against the state. The Roman legal system was based on a concept known as the rule of law, which held that all individuals were subject to the same laws, regardless of their social status or position. This concept was enshrined in the famous Roman legal maxim, ubi societas, ibi ius, where there is society, there is law. One of the most important institutions in the Roman legal system was the court system, which was made up of a hierarchy of courts that handled different types of cases. The highest court in the land was the praetors court, which was responsible for hearing cases involving the wealthy and influential members of Roman society. The development of Roman law and the legal system had a profound impact on the world, and many of the principles and concepts that were developed by the Romans continue to be used in legal systems around the world today. Overall, the art and cultural achievements of ancient Rome were impressive and enduring. They continue to be admired and studied to this day, and they remain an important part of our cultural heritage. What did you think of our list? Did we leave out a major art or cultural achievement? Let us know in the comments.
If you are returning to the Classic Masterworks channel, welcome back. If you are new, please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell notification so that you will be made aware of our latest content.